مسرور يا بحر الهدى أرض التقى والنور جئناك نبغي بيعة نمضي بها للنور.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, cherished viewers. It's pleasing to welcome you to another interesting episode of domestic issues and their solutions. Today, so many things are happening in many homes. We see increasing rates of divorce. We see many homes battling with marital misunderstandings, disagreements, and commotions. And many questions are being asked. Why are all this happening? And how can couples, spouses, find solutions to take them out of the predicaments they have found themselves in their marriages? To look at all this, on this show, we dive into a review of this book titled Domestic Issues and Their Solutions by Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, providing insight into all these issues and challenges couples are facing, and also providing solutions to them based on Islamic teachings and guidance. And today's episode promises to be interesting, as I have with me, as usual, to review the book, Mr. Abbas Iromini Sahib. He remains the National General Secretary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria. He's a retired banker and currently working with the Federal University at Oye, Ekiti State. Mr. Abbas Sahib, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasing to have you on the show to review this book, mashallah. Dear viewers, of course, if you don't have this copy of this book, you can always go to www.alislam.org as it is being displayed on the screen, and get a copy downloaded and get seated as we engage in the review of this profound book to derive benefits contained in it. So, Mr. Abbas Sahib, today, as we say in our balance here, that there's no time to waste time. Right. So let us set the ball rolling. We are continuing from page 24 of the book.
That is chapter 2
of
the book. And if I'm taking the first shot, the chapter 2 is titled Nikah and Purpose of Marriage. And His Holiness, may Allah continue to be his helper, said, Nikah and marriage is a means designed by Allah the Exalted to propagate the human species, designed by Allah the Exalted. Two families come together in this as do two people, and Islam has called this a very commendable practice. Some companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said they would not get married and would lead celibate lives. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, one who does not practice my sunnah is not from me. I get married, undertake business, and also have children. Business here means engagements and responsibilities of life. Here, His Holiness is drawing it to our hearings that, look, human beings or spouses coming together, we are welding, we are bonding either two individuals. Through this bonding, two families are now coming together to become one. It drew our attention to one funny aspect of life where they want to live a celibate life, forgetting the fact that we are existing now by virtue of our parents who got married. If our parents have not gotten married, where would we be? They wouldn't have had that opportunity of procreating us. So if any human being, just like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has now warned, or let me say prevented, some of the companions who wanted to embrace lives of celibacy, that no, you cannot do that. That's not my sunnah. And if you don't do what I'm doing, you can't claim to have come from me. You're not doing mine. Or my sunnah, my tradition. So the same thing His Holiness is warning us, especially youths of these days. We might have been carried away by these Western life things, I don't want anybody breathing down my neck, bring this money, bring that money, this has finished, They consider family life a kind of stress. But he has now said, I got married, I am married, I have children, I have responsibilities. So why should you say you want to run away from my lifestyle? So this is a way of saying, couples, once you are married, you are united, face your responsibilities, hold it up, and of course, live peacefully. You are here today because others did what I did. You cannot run away from what I've done, and that is nikah. So His Holiness has provided good guidance for youth of these days who want to embrace celibate lives.
Absolutely. And Mr. Abbas, and not even just about engaging, about celibate life, leading a celibate life, even homosexual life, because it's also a part of it. Because somebody who is engaging in celibate life does not marry at all. But we're talking of even people who consider who adopt the orientation of marrying another
same-sex marriage, as we have gay.
This is a direct attack to the divine intention of continuing the human species in the world. And so this is a direct message, telling us that that is not the best way, the ideal way of life, of continuing
it's a kind of abnormality. It's absurd.
It's an aberration.
It's inhuman.
And very interesting here, His Holiness alluded to the fact that some companions, they expressed desire not to marry. And the answer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to them is a very interesting instance in the life of in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Actually, His Holiness alluded to this tradition narrated that one day 3 companions of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they came to his house to ask one of his wives, about the Yasaluna and Ibadati Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, asking about the worship, the extent and the scope of worship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So after the wife described the way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam worshipped Allah, كأنهم تقلوها, the person that narrated this incident said that the companions, after listening to the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كأنهم تقلوها, they felt this is just simple practice. So one of them said, "Aina nahnu wa Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Where are we and the Prophet? Qad ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi wa ma ta'akhkhara." His past and present sins have been forgiven, so he can just do little. But we must do much more than his wife has told us. So therefore, one of them said that, "Amma anna," that as for me, usalli layla abadan. From today, throughout my night, I will be observing salat. I will not sleep at all. The second one said, Ana asumu daharo wala uftir. I will be fasting throughout the year. I will not break my fast. The third one said, Ana atazilu nisa. I will separate from women. I will not marry. Wala atazawaj. I will not marry. Meanwhile, all this while they did not know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was inside, hearing everything they were saying. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came out to them. He said, What is wrong with people? Antum alladhina qultum kada wa kada. Are you the one saying all these kind of things? Amma wallahi, he said, I call Allah as my witness. Ana akhshakum lillahi wa atqakum lahu. Among you, I am the one who is most God-fearing among you. Despite this, usalli wa arkud. I observe salat at night, yet I sleep. Asumu wa uftir. I fast. I do fast, and I also break it. Wa atazawwaju nisa. And I'm also marrying women. Man ragiba an sunnati falaysa minni. Whosoever keeps away from this my sunnah, this prophetic practice, is not of me. So look at this narration. It's beautiful. It emphasizes that Muslims must not adopt a celibate life, nor homosexual life. So it is very powerful statement by His Holiness that it draws our attention to this. And reading further, when we go further to the next paragraph, His Holiness said, Nikah is a fundamental commandment. Not only does it propagate one's generation and run society, it also protects one from many ills and propagates pious generation. Newlywed couples should always remember that marriage for adherents of any religion, and in particular for adherents of Islam, is not just for worldly comfort. Rather, it is in compliance with commandments of Allah, the Exalted, and to be put in practice to commence a pious new generation with prayers to Allah, the Exalted. This is instructive.
Very, very.
His Holiness declared that marriage, nikah, is a fundamental commandment. We must all go into it. And not only does it propagate one's generation and run society, it also protects one from many ills and propagates pious generations. Yeah. If we want to purify our society from all the ills we are observing and witnessing today, through marriage, we can achieve that. Yeah. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, one day he met a youth walking the street. The Prophet ﷺ asked him, Alaka zawja? Do you have a wife? Qala la. He said, no. The Prophet asked him, wala jariya? And not even a fiancé you want to marry? He said, wala jariya? I don't even have yet. And the Prophet asked him a very critical question. He said, wa anta munsi'u bil mal, and you have wealth, you have financial, wherewithal to go into marriage. He said, now, ana munsi'u bil mal, I have financial means. The Prophet ﷺ, humorously, he told him, innaka lamin ikhwani shayatin. You are one of the brothers of Satan's perpetrating evils in the society. If you had been, perhaps if you have been one of the Nasara, you would have been of their monks, those who lead celibate life. He declared, he said, he told the youth, he said, An-nikahu min sunnati. Nikah, marriage, is my sunnah. A Muslim who does not keep to this sunnah is not of me, meaning doesn't belong to my religion. So to deal with the evils, the ills going on in the society is to marry. And that's why he advised the youth. He said, therefore, ya ma'ashara shabab, company of youth, man istata'a minkum al-ba'a, anyone who has the means, the wherewithal to go into marriage, falyatazawwaj, he should marry. Male and female should marry. Because by means of that, he said, فَإِنَّهُ أَغَضُّ لِلْبَصَرِ, it will enable them to restrain their gaze. Not be looking here and there, watching, obscene things on the internet, or walking along the streets, looking here and there. The Quran says that you should lower your gaze. And marriage is a means of enabling one to do that. وَأَحْسَنْ لِلْفَرْجِ, and it enables one to keep oneself chaste. These are beautiful teachings, which His Holiness has highlighted for us.
One other way of describing that scenario is like somebody who is hungry, and you have food at home, or you have taken that food, you have fed yourself at home and you are now moving around. You now see maybe another nice food. The fact that you fed yourself will not make you to desire that other food you are seeing.
Absolutely.
Because you've gotten one and you've fed yourself.
Absolutely.
So the calming effect of having gotten married, and of course you have discharged your obligations at home, will not make you to be so hungry or to be overzealous of who is this coming? Is she available? And things like that.
Absolutely.
And that is just a way of
And
actually...
in fact, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that
Sallam.
if any one of you is going in the street and sees a lady, for example, and if desire arises in him, he said he should go back home because he has at home somebody who has what she has.
Let's now look at it. If somebody sees, so to say, a beautiful girl on the street or on the road, and you have nobody at home, what's going to happen?
Absolutely, evil will take place.
And that is why the effect of nikah is to even purify ourselves. And whoever purifies himself or herself, like the Quran says, he who purifies himself is successful. So this is a way of achieving eternity and of achieving the pleasure of Almighty Allah if one actually gets married.
And I think, Mr. Basai, that is why the Holy Quran has declared adultery, fornication, as a great evil and sabil, evil way to work. Because the Prophet ﷺ has underscored the fact that when you marry, it enables you to keep chaste. So after marriage, he said, if you see somebody outside and your desire arises, it arose your desire, you go home to do. So if somebody has somebody at home, but still goes ahead to engage in the extramarital relationship, then it is indeed an evil way to go back. MashaAllah, dear viewers, if you are just joining us, this is Domestic Issues and Their Solutions. It is a program that engages in a review of this book titled Domestic Issues and Their Solutions. It compiled the pronouncement and inspiring guidance of Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, may Allah be his helper, providing solutions to the challenges couples, spouses are facing in their marriages across the world. And we still have much more to learn from this book as we explore it further on this show. Mr. Abbas Saib, let us look further into other aspects of the book.
Yes, from where we paused, His Holiness still further emphasized the fact that nikah is ibadat, and that also is a way of having companionship, is a way, one of the reasons of procreation. And that's when he said, thus, every Ahmadi couple should keep this in view at all times. He further said, with this objective in view, every step of a newly-wed couple will be taken with the thought that they are about to practice a commandment of Allah. So that is still emphasizing that desire to get married is towing the path of Allah, is ibadat actually. You are making an attempt to follow the commandments of Almighty Allah. So it's not just a wishful thinking. It's not just something you can... So it's Allah's commandment.
Absolutely.
So it goes on to say, when man practices commandment of Allah, the exalted, every aspect of his thought process tries to steer to what garners the pleasure of Allah. So nikah is a way of also getting the pleasure of Almighty Allah. And that is why we are in existence. Nobody wants to incur the wrath of Almighty Allah. So if one of the ways of getting the pleasure of Allah is through nikah, why are youths running away from it? Then he continues to say that this enhances mutual relationships and one becomes caring towards the other and becomes mindful of the other's feeling and sentiments. This is very, very insightful. Reason is this: couple should not be self-centered. You are to see how do I satisfy? How do I please my spouse? A man should always think about that. running away from hurting her, she should also not hurt her husband. So if one caters and cares for that other partner that you have, why won't there be peace? And this is what His Holiness wants. He goes on to say that in this way, the bond and the mutual pact does not remain a worldly pact, but becomes a pact to attain the pleasure of Allah, the Exalted. This leads to pious children being born to the couple, and this should be the objective of marriage for Ahmadi Muslims. So, His Holiness has actually dissected it. The fact that you have brought somebody to live with you as your wife automatically means you have a lot of obligations to discharge on her. And of course, one of such is that you want to attain the pleasure of Almighty Allah, you are following the commands of Almighty Allah and His Rasul, definitely abiding by these rules, and of course, making sure that she is also, because it's a two-way thing. As you have that pious intention, you are to cultivate her to have the same pious intention.
Absolutely.
It's when the two of you have that same mission, that same vision, that your children will have the same focus and vision as yourself. And that's why His Holiness keeps emphasizing pious children, the next generation, to be pious and righteous, because they have been given the orientation from home. So couples should really imbibe this culture and this guidance that His Holiness is providing for us.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khairan for that insightful review of that passage. And when we look further down the page, we have a passage where His Holiness is quoted in an address which he delivered at a Nikah sermon at Toronto, Canada. He said that a lot is said about human psychology in the world today, but even prominent expert psychologists could not come close to the way the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, understood human psychology. Keeping in view this understanding of psychology, the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be on him, chose Quranic verses to be read at the time of nikah, which emphasize righteousness. These verses also emphasize the importance of maintaining close family connections and emphasize honesty, and also stress the importance of being mindful of what you have sent for the morrow. These are powerful statements from His Holiness, underscoring the importance of righteousness in marriage, upholding righteousness, honesty, and also maintaining family connections within their marriage, so that one can experience true peace. You know, Quran defines marriage as a means of experiencing sakina, peace of mind, true happiness, through mutual exchange of, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, mutual exchange of love, affection, and tenderness, mercy. So, to achieve this, one must uphold righteousness and being honest in our dealings, the way we deal with ourselves. When you do something for her, let it be with honest intention and sincerity of purpose.
Yeah.
And she also extends the same thing towards her husband. Then there will be peace. Many issues can be resolved. When there are many issues, when there are issues, in as much as they have underlying righteousness, underlining their their relationship, then such issues can be easily addressed. These are key. The Quran says, وَمَا يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يُكَفِّرْ عَنْهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِ وَيُعْظِمْ لَهُ أَجْرًا. Whosoever fears Allah, adopt taqwa, righteousness in dealings, particularly in marital dealings, then Allah will remove all the evils in the marriages. وَيُعْظِمْ لَهُ أَجْرًا, and bless them immensely.
To further really draw the message down, His Holiness now finalized it by saying, if these values were instilled in the newly married and in the relatives of the newly married, the two now, not just the couples alone, even their relatives too, families on both sides, mother, father, sister, and brother, the issues that usually cause cracks in relationships would never surface. These issues cause breakups and pain for both families. Sometimes they escalate to such that people get embroiled in court cases, and then matters are brought to me and are a source of intense pain. The question is, what are these values that His Holiness is saying if they are instilled? Those values are honesty, truthfulness, of course, being considerate, being tolerant, caring for that other partner. And His Holiness is now focusing just on the couples alone. He said even the extended relatives too. The
Absolutely.
father, the mother, the brother, the sister.
Of both sides.
Both sides. So they should instill these values in themselves. And that is to say, they also have that obligation of ensuring that the relationship, the nikah, is sustained, is successful, is harmonious, and not that they should be causing distraction, complaining about the wife, or the relatives of the wife complaining about the husband. They should rather come together and make it something that will work.
Mashallah,
really,
absolutely.
yeah.
These are profound teachings, guidance from His
His
Holiness.
Holiness, yes.
And Mr. Abbas Haib, I must, of course, we are running out of time, but I must say, Jazakallah khairan for being part of the show today and
pleasure.
providing us with insightful review of this profound book. Jazakallah khairan.
Barakallah.
Mashallah. Dear viewers, it has been a great time on the show today exploring and reviewing this book, profound book, Domestic Issues and Their Solutions. So many guidance, wise counseling we have explored in the course of the review today. What remains is for us to learn, to imbibe, and to practice. By the grace of Allah, it shall be well for many homes aspiring to experience true peace and happiness by implementing all this guidance. If you have questions or inquiries, you can always get to us via africa@mta.tv. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أنت الذي حزت الرضا أنت المزكي للورى قدنا إلى نبع الصفا من بيتك المعمور